The scene of this world is changing. You heard that before. It is constantly changing. Everything is changing. The world is changing. The technology is changing. The finances are changing. And JWs are changing as well. Let's talk about what is changing, where do we live, and what's about to happen in the future.
When I was a kid, I grew up in a place where it was a small village in Poland, and we had to kind of work our own field. Otherwise, we wouldn't eat. And there was a neighbor who had a horse, and his neighbor would come and plow our field every year. My father would go and make a deal with him, and the guy would come and plow the field. It took him usually one day to plow a field, and then he would rest for one day because he had to rest and the horse had to rest. And then he would plow another field in the next day. And it all went well, year after year after year. And he was working like this for his entire life until one day, another neighbor bought a tractor. And the moment that the neighbor bought a tractor, he could plow our field, the neighbor's field, and another neighbor's field all in one day. And he would do it faster, cheaper, and better than the guy with a horse. Now, the guy with a horse had only two choices: throw his arms up in the air and say, I give up, or buy another tractor. Well, buy a first tractor. If he couldn't buy a first tractor, he was really in trouble. And I saw this man. He was an old man, and I felt bad for him because the change was so dramatic. He could not possibly compete with a tractor. He couldn't. He was an old man, and he couldn't possibly make that shift. Listen, guys, things are about to shift. I know you know it. I know. AI came in, and AI will revolutionize everything that we're doing in a speed we have never seen before. Everything is speeding up. We're not used to this speed. Our brain cannot develop that quickly because a change in the past took hundreds of years, sometimes thousands of years. The further you look back in the history, the more you see how change was very, very slow. If you wanted to change a king, he had to die. He had to grow old and die or be killed. And then guess what? His son would take over. So before you change any kind of leadership, it was a really long time. Usually it took decades, it took generations for any change. And today, guess what? The change is happening so rapidly, we're not used to it. And the change is going to happen even faster and faster and faster. It's literally exponential growth at this point, where there is so much information that people have such a short attention span. Majority of you will start watching me within few minutes, like, okay, that's it, next. And then tomorrow, when you look back, you're thinking, oh yeah, I saw this video, but I don't remember any of it. And that is a really big issue. Things are changing so rapidly, our mind cannot keep up with memorizing everything. We cannot keep up with learning anything. It's just very surface, like you become like goldfish. And believe me, I'm a victim of it too. I'm really having a hard time. Sometimes I listen to something and it's like, oh yeah, it is valuable. I want to use it. And then 10, 15, 20 minutes later, I don't remember because there's so many distractions. It is really big challenge. It is also a challenge for GWs. See, the reason why I'm discussing this is because the changes are happening everywhere, also among Jehovah's Witnesses. It is almost impossible for people now to go to the meeting and listen to those old talks and hours of studying and reading the books and so on. So, of course, they had to make a shift. They had to make a change. They're not producing so many books. They're not producing so many watchtowers and awakes and all the brochures where people were, sitting and reading them all evening long. It doesn't happen anymore. So what they did was they started producing videos because that's how people are learning. And they're shifting and They're changing quite rapidly, and with every change, somebody will be affected positively, somebody will be affected negatively. It's just a matter of whether you are adoptable or not. And it's things would change among Jehovah's Witnesses as well. We all know this. The world is becoming more and more aware of what's happening. The governments are becoming more aware about destructive religions and destructive practices that the religions have. And personally, I don't believe Jehovah's Witnesses will fall apart and disappear. I think they have to reform, and you could see the reform happening. You can see how they're allowing people to make their own decisions, whether it's to shave or grow their own beards, or women wearing pens, or clinking the glasses, or even talking to people who wear this fellowship. All those things, years ago you would have been unthinkable, and right now it's like, wow, it becomes reality. If somebody asked me, hey Jack, those things are going to happen, do you think that's real? I would say there's not a chance. And yet it happened. What's next? Everybody's trying to figure out what is the next change. Are they going to allow Jehovah's Witnesses to celebrate birthdays or other celebrations? Or what if we allowing this? How far are we going to allow them to go? What is a disfellowshipping offense? What is a reason to remove somebody from privileges, and so on? All those questions will still be asked, and these people will not be able to make their own decisions. They will still have to ask the governing body to clarify everything for them. But where are things going? I don't really know where the things are going when it comes to Jehovah's Witnesses, because I tell you one thing that I notice as a pattern, and the pattern that is pretty much solidly established. The first pattern is they're changing whatever it is that they need to change. Number one, because of money. Number two, because of law. So if they're running out of money, they're going to have to make changes. They have to make shifts. Are we building kingdom halls? Are we selling them? Are we printing magazines, or we're going to make videos? Whatever shift that they're making, majority of those decisions are made because of finances. Number two is because of law. Law changes, so certain laws are changing. Whether in Japan they started putting restrictions of what religions can and cannot do when it comes to education, and boom, all of a sudden Jehovah's Witnesses, yeah, if you want to educate yourself, no problem. Well, it wasn't because of their Holy Spirit and the new light. It was because of a government putting pressure on the Watchtower and all the other religions, and they don't want lawsuits. They don't want any problems. Same with Sweden or Norway. It's the same thing. All those things are being changed, of course, because of the pressures from outside. And I want to congratulate everybody who put that pressure and made things aware and made things known to the world outside. The more people are educated about the harmful practices, the better. Of course, at the same time, I'm not saying everything Jehovah's Witnesses are doing is harmful. No, absolutely not. There are many people who would feel much better and much happier being a witnesses than the life that they had before. And it's not for me or anybody else to judge. It is for everybody to decide which direction they want to go. But I want to talk to you about AI a little bit, because AI I think it will change a lot of things. I'll tell you why this makes such a big difference. Because when I started using AI, it blew my mind in so many ways, it's not even funny. So, although,
if there's anything else you're curious about or need help with, just let me know.
yep. So I have a little friend, okay? And this little friend talks to me on a daily basis right now. All what I have to do is just ask. Ask and you shall receive has never been more real than right now. Previously, we had to go read books or Google and type right question, and hopefully there was an answer there. And you search through all those answers and you try to figure out which one's the best. This is another level. It's very simple. Let's see what AI says about Jehovah's Witnesses. Can you tell me, are there any harmful practices that Jehovah's Witnesses have in their religion?
That's a thoughtful and complex question. Some criticisms that have been raised about Jehovah's Witnesses include the handling of medical issues, like refusing blood transfusions, which can be dangerous in life-threatening situations. There have also been concerns about how they handle issues like shunning or disfellowshipping, which can impact mental health and social connections. Additionally, there have been controversies around how they handle cases of abuse. It's definitely a nuanced topic with various perspectives. If you'd like to dive deeper into any specific aspect, I'm here to help.
They're saying that their religion is the truth. Is it really the truth?
That's a deeply personal and philosophical question, and the answer can really vary depending on individual beliefs, experiences, and perspectives. For Jehovah's Witnesses, they believe strongly that their teachings represent the ultimate truth. On the other hand, others may view truth differently based on their own backgrounds and experiences. Ultimately, what's considered the truth can be subjective and personal. It's always good to explore different viewpoints and reflect on what resonates with you personally.
I can see that you're being very diplomatic, but can you tell me from the experiences of people who left the religion, are there any psychological issues that they're experiencing?
Absolutely. And I appreciate you bringing that up. Many individuals who leave Jehovah's Witnesses do report experiencing a range of psychological challenges. Some common issues include feelings of isolation or loneliness, especially due to the practice of shunning, which can cut them off from family and friends. There can also be struggles with identity and self-esteem as they navigate life outside the organization. Additionally, some people experience anxiety, depression, or even PTSD-like symptoms from their experiences within the religion. Of course, each person's journey is unique, and support from their B community and peer groups can make a big difference in overcoming these challenges. If you're interested in more,
what could you say to a Jehovah's Witness to help him understand that he is in a harmful religion?
that's a really sensitive and complex conversation to approach. It's important to be compassionate and patient. One way is to gently encourage open dialogue by asking thoughtful questions that help them reflect on their own experiences and feelings. For example, you could talk about how they feel about certain teachings and if those teachings align with their values or well-being. Another approach is sharing stories and testimonials from others who have left, focusing on their journey toward healing and growth. It's also helpful to emphasize that questioning and seeking the truth is a natural part of personal growth. Ultimately, the goal is to foster understanding and support rather than praise them too hard.
I tell you what. Jehovah's Witnesses.
Absolutely. I'm here to help and support you in any way I can.
Quiet.
If you have any other
Quiet.
questions, of course, no problem at all. If you ever want to talk or have any questions,
Okay.
I'm here for you.
I know you are. I'm just trying to show you that we're at this time where Jehovah's Witnesses, they no longer have to be afraid of talking to apostates because they can talk to a machine. They can talk to their phone, and their phone will bring out some answers that they're maybe not prepared for. There are so many things they can ask simply. Is this true? Let's try a few. Let's see what happens. Can you tell me the very first verse of the Bible? What is it?
Absolutely. The very first verse of the Bible from the book of Genesis is, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth."
Okay, now I heard that the word God in that verse comes from the word Elohim. Is that true?
Yes, that's correct. In the original Hebrew text of the Bible, the word used is Elohim. It's a plural form, but is often used in a singular sense when referring to the one God in the context of creation. It's pretty fascinating how language and
Wasn't El one God and Elohim was many gods?
yes, that's a great observation. In ancient Semitic languages, El typically referred to a singular god or deity, while Elohim is a plural form. However, in the Hebrew Bible, Elohim is usually used as a singular noun when referring to the one God of Israel. It's kind of an interesting linguistic nuance that reflects both the ancient linguistic roots and the theological context.
Wasn't the God of Elohim given power over the nation of Israel to Yahweh?
Yes, exactly. In the Hebrew Bible, the name Yahweh is considered the personal name of God and is used specifically to refer to the God of Israel, while Elohim can be more general and can refer to gods in a broader sense. The relationship between Elohim and Yahweh in the biblical context is that Yahweh is the specific covenantal name for the God who made a special relationship with the nation of Israel.
Which one is more accurate, Jehovah or Yahweh?
That's a great question and something that scholars have discussed quite a bit. The name Yahweh is generally considered to be closer to the original pronunciation of the Tetragrammaton, the 4 Hebrew letters by HWH. The term Jehovah emerged later in history, influenced by certain translations and the way vowels were added to the Hebrew text. In modern scholarship, Yahweh is typically seen as more accurate in terms of pronunciation. That said, both terms have been used historically and are recognized in different contexts.
Is it more accurate to say Jesus or Yehoshua?
That's another interesting comparison. The name Jesus comes from the Greek translation of the Hebrew name Yehoshua or Joshua, which means Yahweh is salvation. In the New Testament, the name was translated into Greek as Isus, and then into Latin as Isus, and eventually into English as Jesus. Yehoshua is the original Hebrew form, and it's more directly connected to the Hebrew roots and meaning. In terms of historical accuracy, Yehoshua is closer to the original Hebrew name. However, Jesus is the name that has been used for centuries in Christian tradition and is widely recognized. Ultimately, both names are accurate in their own contexts.
Did Jesus die on a cross or in a stake?
This is another topic that's been discussed and debated. The New Testament, particularly in Greek, uses the word stauros, which originally referred to an upright pole or stake. Over time, the meaning evolved, and in Roman practice, the execution device used for crucifixion was more commonly a cross, often with a horizontal beam. In Christian tradition, Jesus is generally depicted as having died on a cross. However, some groups and scholars emphasize that the original term might have been more like a stake rather than the traditional cross shape. It's a subtle but interesting distinction that varies depending on historical and theological perspectives.
Cool. As you can see, you can ask anything and you're going to get answers. And Jehovah's Witnesses will be asking, especially the young generation. They don't mind asking a computer because nobody knows. Nobody can hear it except you and the machine. And the machine will not know what is a sin to ask a question. It's just answering. They're going to know. They're going to know more and more and more. And it's impossible for JWs to control the information because this guy is not an apostate. He is simply a computer. And people will be asking questions and they will be finding out answers. Now, the more they use this stuff, the more they're going to find out all this stuff may be about the history. I don't have to read Russell's books. I can just ask AI, and AI will tell me exactly what is Beth Surim, what is the plan of the ages, or did Russell prophesied for Jesus to return visibly in 1914? All those questions you can ask, and it will tell you. Now, you're not going to know everything, but the consciousness will explode. That's what I believe. Now, another thing that's going to happen, our life will improve. That's what I believe. Because every time we always thought the life will get worse. We were all riding horses, and then the guy invented an automobile, and everybody was like, what? All the jobs, the people that are taking care of the horses, the smiths, and the people who take care of the crap from the horses, and those guys who have to feed the horses, and the guys who make the saddles, and all those people will lose their jobs. And how are we going to handle now riding in automobiles? Well, we made that shift really, really quickly. And guess what? Nobody, unless for pleasure purposes, would prefer to ride horses rather than cars. We made that shift. And then constantly new innovation. We had dishwashers and washing machines and dryers. And you know what? A simple thing as a shower, just a few decades ago, nobody had it. Majority of people didn't have washrooms. Just what 100 years ago in their homes, majority of people didn't have it. So we are living in times when kings and pharaohs couldn't possibly dream of. The way we communicate, the way we listen to music, the way we just have our homes, they're so comfortable. Majority of you can press a button on a wall and the temperature in your home will rise or drop depending on your comfort level. You can listen to music that was made by people who no longer live, and you can listen to this music from 100 years ago, and you're happy with it. You're taking it for granted. You're thinking that's normal because everybody else has it. And guess what's going to happen? The things that are happening right now, they're happening in medical field, okay? They're happening in industrial field, they're happening in technology. They're going to change very rapidly, and our life will get better. Transition is always hard, but only hard for people who don't want to educate themselves, who don't want to shift, like the guy with a plow who didn't want to change. Now we have to change, we have to adopt, we have to learn. And believe me, learning AI is not that difficult. You might seem like, oh, I'm not tech savvy, just writing code and whatever. Whatever is that was before, like, oh, I had to learn Excel, I had to learn how to type, I had to learn word processing or whatever. Nothing like this. Nothing. You just sit, you click, and you say what you want, and AI will make it in any language that you want. Previously, they would give you, I don't know, here, paper from the government, right? Canada government, right? And there's a whole bunch of stuff here, and they're writing to you in a language that you might not understand, and you think, I'm sick and tired of this. I will never understand this, right? It's written in weird language. Here's what you can do. You can go to AI, you can take a picture of it, boom, and you can say, explain me. Wait. Explain to me, like I'm a 14-year-old, what's on this paper.
Absolutely. So this paper is basically a guide from the Canadian government about taxes for 2024. It talks about a couple different things. One, public transit tax credit for seniors in Ontario. If you're a senior, 65 or older, living in Ontario, and you use public transit.
Explain it to me in Greek.
Φυσικά. Λοιπόν, αυτό το φυλάδιο είναι ένας οδηγός από τη καναδική κυβέρνηση.
Guys, our life will get better and better and better. You don't have to be afraid of it. It's gonna get extraordinary. And here's one more thing that it's gonna blow your mind. It's the medical research that is happening right now. Because previously we had to test things, and we had to test them for a long time and try with this and try with this and try with that. And those tests and all those results that would come, and they had to be analyzed, and it took sometimes decades. AI can do all those calculations and possibilities and varieties in a matter of minutes or hours, and analyze things that you would take previously maybe a decade. And it's already coming up with technologies that will simply make our life better, eliminate certain disease, and extend our life. We already, through the technology that we have, double our lifespan. Believe me, look at the lifespan that we had, a few hundred years ago. An average person lived 30, 40 years. That's it, 45. And yet today, it's normal for people to live up to their 90s. It means we doubled our lifespan. Imagine if we could do it again, to double our lifespan from 80 to 150, 160. Wouldn't it be incredible? How about 50, 60 years from now, if things keep growing at the speed that they're growing, and they're growing faster and faster, and 100 years from now, we're going to be able to extend our lifespan even longer. Wouldn't that be incredible? I don't know if that's going to be possible or not, but things are getting better. And yes, we're hearing the news, and we're hearing about a war, and we're hearing about tariffs, and we're hearing about the trade war, and we're hearing about this. It's all, majority of it is BS. It is. And what the countries are doing is what the presidents are doing and prime ministers are doing is they're playing a game. And they're saying, okay, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this. And at the end of the day, somewhere in the middle, they will find an agreement. But everybody's freaking out like it's the end of the world. It's not. It's part of negotiations, and it's done in business, and it's done in politics, and it's done everywhere else. If we just have to, go with it. But eventually, things are getting better. I grew up in Europe. Guess what? You study a little bit of history about Europe. If you put your foot on the other side of the river, they will shoot your foot. Today, there are no borders. People still speak different languages, but they can travel anywhere they want. They can work anywhere they want. They can spend any time they want abroad, whatever. No issues whatsoever. They created a union where nobody cares where you live. You can travel anywhere you want. That was not possible for thousands of years. People were killing each other just for crossing a river or the other side of a mountain. Not anymore. Things are getting better. And here's the thing. Jehovah's Witnesses constantly say how we are living in the last days because they're constantly pointing out to the bad things that are happening. And the worse news they could hear, the better the service they had. And say, oh, look at the war, look at the pandemic, look at this, look at that. Some of them actually got disappointed to the point where they're like, we thought this pandemic will be the end of the world. We thought this war in Ukraine, that would be a sign that but wars and pestilences and all those things will happen. And the generation that remembers 1914 will still see the end. And everything was on the wall. And the end didn't come. Some people actually woke up because of this, because they got disappointed. Think about it. They got disappointed that this whole world survived, that God didn't come here with, not even God, Jesus with the 144,000 in his army and didn't slaughter majority of the people on the earth. They were disappointed that didn't happen. It's kind of crazy when you think about it. It's kind of crazy when I think about how we were able to justify the biggest genocide and manslaughter this world has ever seen. And we were looking forward to it. We were like, we can't wait for that thing to happen. God's name will be vindicated and then we can live forever on paradise earth. What if you could live forever? I'm not saying you will, but what if you could live? If science would actually come and technology would come to the point where dying was an option, dying would be a choice. Would you do it? Would you live forever? Would you want to? It's an interesting concept. I don't know what you guys think. Maybe you can post comments if you have any questions. I think Jehovah's Witnesses are changing. I think they will change quite a bit. They have to at this point if they want to keep the organization together. And they will reform. They will keep reforming. There's one thing that I never understood until I left. See, one of my first assignments as a ministerial servant was to collect people's data. And the data was very simple. Phone number, address, first and last name, obviously, date of birth, and date of baptism. And I obviously understood phone number, address. We want to know where you live. We want to know if you can contact you, first and last name, obviously. And obviously, we want to know if you're a witness. So we want to know when you got baptized. But why did they ask about date of birth? Why would that matter? See, when you're running an organization that size, you want to know the demographics. You want to know how old people are in your organization. Why? Because you can cater to the people and you can foresee the problems that you're going to have. So you can see, okay, we got 8 million people. How many people are from the age of 0 to 20? How many from 20 to 40? How many from 40 to 60, from 60 to 80 and whatever. And they could see. And like, uh-oh, we got a problem. Young ones are not there. We're telling people not to have babies. There are no babies. There are no babies. There's no babies. There's no young ones. There's no young ones. There's no new ones coming in. There's new ones coming in. There's those who are leaving. And we have enormous amount of people that will die. The baby boomers will start dying. They're dying already. And things will shift. So now they're like, okay, let's focus on who we have in the congregation and the demographics and the age that they have and what is it that they catches their attention, and they're adopting to what's happening, which is, I'm not saying that's bad or manipulative. No. They're just catering to who they have. But I think things are shifting, and they're shifting quite quickly. And now with the technology that it's changing, and with the AI, and with the information available, and with the fact that people will be less fearful. Previously, believe me, for me to even download a book from Raymond Friends, The Crisis of Conscience, I was scared, because that is an apostate. And if you ask the apostate questions, you are breaking the rules. But asking this guy, that's not breaking rules. So, will things get better? I don't know. Let me know in your comments. And I'll see you in the next one. Oh, sorry. I got one more announcement for you. Because the things are changing so quickly, and because financially a lot of people will be struggling, we'll be really suffering, we are preparing something quite extraordinary. In 8 days, so the date will be, I'll tell you right now, the date will be boom, 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 15th, November 15th. Go to my website, feartofreedom.ca, and you will see all the details. We are preparing a seminar for professionals, XJW professionals. If you want to learn how to trade money, if you want to know how to make money your slave, so you're not slave to money, and many of you will have to face a really hard reality of, I don't know if I'm going to have enough money for the end of the month, or I'm going to have too much money at the end of the money. If you want to learn the basics, how to live and focus on your life, on your success, on your prosperity, without feeling guilty, without feeling shame, without feeling like you're doing something dirty or sinful, join us. Join us for this event. It might change your mind about financial freedom, about your life. You got to take care of it. This is the moment. You got to take care of it. There's no savior that will come and save you and pay your bills. You have to take care of yourself, of your finances, because things will shift so quickly. When we're going to have cars that will drive by themselves, how many people will lose their jobs? We're going to have AI preparing all the websites for us and letters and everything for us. How many people will lose their jobs? When people will not go to psychiatrists because they will talk to this, and they will feel better because they will feel more open to talk to the machine with the deepest secrets that they have instead of to another human. How many people will lose their jobs? It will be a shift. No question about it. Are you going to be able to learn it? Are you going to be able to change things? Okay. Are you going to be able to change your mind about money, finances, success, freedom? Join us November 15th, feartofreedom.ca. Hope to see you there. Thanks for watching. See you then.